Good morning, South Florida.
And welcome to the Brooklyn Cafe Morning Show.
Grab your coffee as we brew up the talk of the day.
From the latest scoop around town
to feel-good stories and messages of hope.
A few jokes and live calling.
Highlighting local businesses.
Discussing hot trends and news stories.
A dash of feel-good nostalgia.
I love those morning cartoons.
Keeping up with upcoming events.
Sometimes trying and delicious foods.
Weekly horoscope updates.
An occasional flying duck.
Some sparkle dust.
Don't forget my bell.
And my wand.
With our Brew Crew laughing on set.
So grab your coffee, your bagel, donut, or any breakfast as we get you up and ready for the rest of your day.
And don't leave us hanging. Give us a follow. Comment live or call right into the show at 888-994-4995 Studio B.
Whether it's a tip of the day or just to say good morning, we'd love to hear from you.
From Amp Media Production Studio, it's
the Brooklyn Cafe Morning Show.
Dawn, where's the snooze button?
Freddy, it's time to get up. We got a show to do. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Hang tight, guys. Pressing the snooze one more time.
And it's time to do a show.
Morning time, snooze button.
That's how you should do that. The dancing producer.
This one's a funny one. This one, you never see her coming. Christmas tree, grace, it's all an illusion of what she really is. It's all in the illusion.
A few different personalities.
Are you amazed and in awe? I'm pretty amazed and in awe at this moment in time. Morning, 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 everyone. Happy Friday is all I can say. Friday the 13th, actually.
Oh, God.
I know, but in our world, it's a special day, right?
A lot of good things happened this morning. Get up at 5 o'clock this morning because I didn't want to be late.
Did you sleep?
Till about 5. I got up, got dressed, out the door, head down to Davie, met Frank.
You should have picked me up.
You know, I forgot all about it.
Oh, thanks, Freddy.
I would have picked you up to help us with this thing. And
I could have helped.
Totally. But you helped on the back end, which was really good.
You know, we were lifting up the Virgin Mary and carrying her in the studio on Friday the 13th. What can go wrong here?
Absolutely nothing.
I gotta tell you, Garcia and G-Man are two of the strongest guys. I mean, you look at them, and you don't realize how strong they are.
She's actually bigger than I anticipated.
Yeah, she's huge.
No, she's actually exactly the right size, 5 foot.
It's all the right size of her.
And when me and Frank got there first, and we were trying to size up, because you gotta understand, it was in dirt, on a dirt top, so you can't wiggle her on dirt. So you have to figure out. So I'm sitting there. Frank he's a strong guy. He got it on the dolly, and we're about to start taking it out, me and him, because Garcia wasn't there yet. And we said, okay, we're gonna put it back because it was a little too heavy.
Yeah.
This guy weighed 500 pounds.
Amazing. Happy Friday the 13th, everyone.
Friday.
It's an interesting kind of day to have this beautiful statue of the Virgin Mary delivered to the studio on Friday the 13th. To Studio 13 is all I can tell you. So in our world, 13 is a good number.
What we need to do, we need to get like Jason Voorhees to come in today.
On the month of Halloween, this is just like one of those woo-woo kind of days.
Jason Voorhees to come in and be a guest on the afternoon show.
It's just sometimes, and because I was talking to different people about what I was going to be doing this morning, and everybody's asking me the question, why?
That's
And
a
I
long
said-
story.
And I said, sometimes it's hard to explain something that you're never going to be able to understand. It says, just you take your why, you put it in why you shouldn't, and there's the answer.
So I was explaining the story to Grace this morning, and as I'm saying it to her, that the Virgin Mary would come to roast at the Apparition Center every month on the 13th. And as the words came out of my mouth, I went, holy smokes, today is the 13th. And as I say that, in walks Frank. She looks beautiful. Wow.
And Frank is the messenger. And you notice as soon as it needed to be touched up and fixed up, you saw Frank had to get to work.
Look at Josh's face. Pretty amazing, right?
You're taller than it. It's okay.
Hat. It says Martin.
That's his Friday hat. Does it say Martin?
Yeah,
oh,
it
your
says
hat
Martin.
says Martin. Amazon. She's
Martin.
probably one of the most quiet people I've ever met.
Queen mumbles.
She's like, no. You're not quiet? She doesn't say much. Anyway, how was your week so far? Are you ready to rock and roll? Because we got a busy day ahead of us.
I'm very tired. You know, last night, for those of you that weren't here, we had every inch of the studio being used.
I know.
Wow.
There was production happening out there. We had some sound equipment stuff happening in here.
Plus you had Monty in here.
Who? Well,
Chili.
we had Chili, Santiago Chili, and then we had Jelly in here setting up for sound to work with Garcia.
Yep.
The producers were all working on different boards. And studio was in production. And it was funny to see that we had to use Santos's computer to air something.
Well, we got it all done. And then JC was amazing. Laura was live in studio. She brought her son, which was pretty cool. I got to tell you, I forgot how smart a 14-year-old boy can be. You forget, and when you don't have them. But what a smart young man is all I can tell you. He is very quick and smart and together.
Smart young man.
He's a lot of things.
Right?
Smart as
Good-looking
well.
kid.
Stay a while.
Yeah.
Put this someplace I won't put it in the car.
Okay.
Me.
You can leave it right there.
Sure. Put it inside. Don't leave it in your lounge.
Okay, whatever works. You need help?
No, I'm done.
Okay.
Get you a cup of coffee. Get the coffee in the back.
I got to make another pot. Josh, you know how to make coffee?
Yeah.
Can you make another pot, please? I meant to do it, and I think I...
You didn't do it?
It was a senior moment, now that I'm thinking of it.
Did you turn the air up?
Down?
Yeah.
Why, it's hot? Not so much. When I got here, it was cold. But we can do that, too.
It's like 100 degrees.
Sorry. I did the best I could. I was by myself when I got here this morning. Then I heard screaming and men running up and down.
He was here.
No, he wasn't here yet. So when I got here for about a half hour, I heard all this noise outside, and there were guys outside running up and down the parking lot, and I was alone. So knowing what today
Why
was,
was people in the parking lot?
I don't know. So I quickly locked the door, and then I sort of just did what I had to do. And then Baxton came, and Grace came, and all was good.
Grace came and all was good. Grace!
Anyway, last night was a great night. We have a lot of things going on. We have to get over to the Sad Man. Anyone ever go to Royal Palm Plaza? So there's a new coffee shop there called Sad Man Cafe, and they have comedy there. So David Sadaka, I have to say it the right way, not
Sad Man.
Sadaka. Sad Man.
I call him Sandman. He says, no, it's Sad Man. Sad.
Sad without an N. Sad Man.
Well, I spelled that without a G.
So I was thinking about picking up breakfast there this morning. I wasn't sure what time they got up, so quickly Uber Eats. Had to feed the guys.
Frank, you gonna come in? Get Frank the green
Let's get Frank a chair.
The green chair. Frank,
I'm going to go see if I can see the launch.
What launch?
Falcon 9's going up in 3 minutes.
or Falcon?
Heavy is going up in 3 minutes, and sometime you can see it. So I'll be
He's
back.
going outside to see the launch. What, like I said, what a day is
What am
all
I?
I can say.
Falcon lunch. I guess Gio didn't tell me there was a lunch today.
I do not know.
Gio has a launch on the 24th, I think it is. He has a launch. His animals are going up.
Clouds.
Come, they're gonna make you a cup of coffee. Come sit down.
I got him a cup, and
Oh, okay.
I had to
And
make
get
a
your
new one, and
sandwich.
that's all
You
that
got your
happened.
sandwich?
I think he ate that. He's a busy man. Anyway, so who went? You went. Frank went. G-Man, Garcia. What was it like? What does this feel like for you?
But,
Well, now you're hot and tired, but
yeah, no, I'm hot and tired.
Frank knew everything where all the bodies lay. He knew how to get her moved and everything. He had been there before, and he knew.
That's
We
why
were
I
just.
did all the painting was over there. So
You restored her. You painted her. She was fully white when you got her.
fully white, missing a thumb.
He tells us, "Don't grab her by the thumb." Meanwhile,
Don't
we're
grab-
struggling just to
Don't
grab
grab
her.
that both hands are weak, so you can't grab either hand.
But that's it. She ain't moving.
That's not moving now.
I ain't moving. You might as well just like.
Earthquake, maybe.
I got to tell you guys, I am just impressed and amazed of the whole story behind it.
What I was impressed with was when we started and all this planning went and they move it to the truck, and then we look at her and we look at the back of the truck. So he goes to get a tape. So Garcia grabbed a piece of pipe to measure, to make sure she fit. Actually, we had about 3 or 4 inches, maybe more.
About 4 inches.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? But I had visions of you guys standing her up and driving down I-95 and people like waving, honk for Mary or something, but you had laid her
No,
down.
if she wasn't so heavy, that could have been a possibility. She's heavy. I'm gonna tell you, she is dead
That's
weight.
about 500
is.
pounds.
At
They
least.
decided 550, I think, is what Garcia and
Whatever.
G-Man came up with.
But the thing is that all the weight is at the bottom.
Yeah. But like the funny part is all of us trying to fit her through the door. That was like a comedy show.
That's the
Because,
other
like-
thing. There's not enough of her for 6 hands to grab.
Yeah.
I'm still shocked that they brought it to that place because that place is no bigger than 4 feet.
Yeah, I know how they got it in there.
How did they end up bringing her there?
The apparition site ended in 2018, 2017. The visionary passed away, and it was on a fountain in the backyard.
She was?
Yeah, the fountain was probably around 3 feet off the ground, so she was on top of that fountain. And the house was then sold this past year to a Muslim family. So they wanted all the religious stuff taken out because there was a big fountain in the front with Mary on top of that, a small statue of Mary, and that fountain was probably 15 feet high.
Wow.
So somebody had to take that. I don't know how they got that off. And then this was in the back. So one of the other guys that used to be in the operation site with me, his name's Larry. His son owns a construction company. So he called me up and said we had to take the statue off back from the thing, from the back of the property. He got 4 guys. I don't know how they got it off the fountain. I have no idea how they got it off the fountain. That blows my mind. Divine intervention, I guess. They put it in the back.
And there she is. Wow.
And they put it in the back of the pickup truck and brought it to his little warehouse. And he asked me if I'd restore it. It was all white, and it was missing a thumb. So it took me around. I only went once every couple. I only went like once or twice, once or twice a week for about 3 weeks. I went there, and it took about 3 weeks.
Do you live close to
That's
that?
amazing.
I live in Sunrise, so I live west.
Most of it.
Yeah, so west, little northwest. So
You did her flowers, everything on her.
everything,
on the road,
everything's done.
everything.
Everything,
you
yeah, it
painted.
was all white.
She
so
was all
everything
white, so you painted everything.
Everything.
It's amazing.
Well, first we had to sand it because first I had to sand it down because I had all the old paint. Must have been painted
Years.
years and years, constantly being painted and repainted and repainted, and that was all flaking off. So it took 3 or 4 attempts. It took about a week and a half to sand it down to get it to the point where you can paint it. And then Larry put a primer coat, and then I got some cement. I had to build my own little.
Thumb.
I had to create my own little rebar to get it into the thumb, so I had to drill a hole and then create tiny little rebars so the cement will stick to something
Really?
to put it on the thumb, or otherwise it wouldn't stick. So then I put the cement on there, then we had to wait for that to dry. And then I had to sand all that down smooth.
Well, her
And I
hands
sealed
look
the
beautiful.
then I sealed the cement with caulking. And then sanded that smooth, and then I painted. And then-
Now I gotta ask you. This was part of a house that. What happened in this house? You were there how long, and what happened in the house?
It started in 1994. The visionary there received messages from the Virgin Mary and Jesus Christ. The apparitions would appear every 13th. Funny how today's the 13th.
Funny how that worked out.
No coincidence, people.
And it wasn't even planned.
I didn't even plan. And they used to be in the beginning. Of course, you know, faith eventually wanes. In the beginning, there would be 3,000 or 4,000 people that should show up on the 13th to get a message. And Hollywood police would come and block off the street with barricades because you couldn't even drive through. There was 3,000 people on the street.
So what they do? Line up to talk to her?
They waited to hear the message. When she get, you know, she's from Cuba. She was a nightclub singer in Cuba. So there's a story in itself. And my wife Christine and I, we heard about it. We kept hearing about it on the radio and it was in the papers, but they never would say the address. They kept saying, "Oh, in Hollywood, Florida, there's African side every Thursday, blah blah blah." And we kept saying, "Well, where? I'm going to drive around Hollywood. Where is this?" So one Saturday, I believe, or it could have been a Sunday, I'm not sure. We heard they gave the address. It was on, I forget now, 66th Avenue off Taft, between Taft and Arthur Street. It was on a corner. She said, "Let's go." This was around 11 o'clock. So we drive down there and there's no place to park. All the streets, there was no parking in the streets. There's 2,000 people in the street. We couldn't get anywhere near the place. So we parked in the shopping center up on Taft, and we walked down to the house, which was maybe 2 blocks. We walked down to where her house was. Just as we got there, it was like ending. She had already given the speech, and she had said, "Okay, everybody hold hands, and you're going to be blessed with the Holy Spirit. Everybody here is going to be blessed with the Holy Spirit." And that was done, and then we left. Chris and I walked back, and we left. So my wife Christine tells me, "Goes, anything happen to you? Did you see anything? Anything happen?" I said, "I didn't see anything." Chris said she saw the Virgin Mary up above the house. I said, "The only thing I felt is when she said I was going to touch with the Holy Spirit, something hot at the top of my head was hot, and the heat went from my head all the way down to my feet."
That's what you felt?
That's what I felt. It was like heat, hot, like I was flushed. So we said, well, that must have been the Holy Spirit. So Chris at the time was working for Dawn and Bradstreet in Hollywood. So she would go there every 13th during lunch break. And I was working for an electronics company in Fort Lauderdale, so I couldn't really take off. So I would only go there when the 13th was on the weekend. And then we went to a couple of the volunteer meetings, because they had volunteers to help her clean the house, crowd control, and everything else, because you had 3,000 people show up. And eventually I started going on a regular basis. Then I just took off from work. And then that lasted from 1995 till around 2017. We were there.
Wow.
95 to 17 is
Yeah.
22
And then
years?
she got really ill, and then
You went for 22 years?
and then it got to the point where what would happen is she would bless people with the Holy Spirit after. We would get people would start getting there around 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. We'd say a rosary, start around 11 o'clock, the group rosary, or, a couple thousand people. And sometime during the we never knew when, but sometime during the rosary, we'd have to stop because the Virgin Mary would come and give a message to the visionary. And my wife was one of the secretaries who copy it down. And they would copy it they would tape it with tape, so she would give the message in Spanish. And then they would go to an office inside, and then for the next hour, they'd have to translate the Spanish to English.
Wow.
To give it in both English and Spanish.
Can you imagine?
So, and then after that, the people would line up, and then she would start blessing all the people. And there was people coming with wheelchairs, crutches, cancer, and all kinds of stuff. And it got to the point where she was doing it herself. She couldn't do it herself. It'd take hours to try to bless a couple thousand people. So I had started repairing statues there. The first statue I repaired, we had made a pilgrimage to Italy. The people from the Upper East Side made a pilgrimage to Italy. We stopped at a few of the religious sites in Italy, Lanciano, Loreto, Assisi, and the visionary bought a statue of Padre Pio. It was a acrylic statue, which was about 2.5 feet high. So instead of taking it back on the plane, she had it shipped back. When she got it, it was in 200 pieces. Smashed in 200 pieces. So she calls me over and goes, "Can you fix this?" I opened up the box. I looked at it and I went, "Well, I'll try, but geez, it was in literally in pieces.
Wow.
Strips, broken plastic, missing parts, pieces." And I repaired it to the point where you didn't even know it was fixed. And I brought it back.
Wow.
And I brought it back and I brought it to the apparition site. And I didn't tell her. I brought it to the apparition site and put it in the apparition room. It used to be her bedroom. And they changed it to an apparition room. That's where the apparition would occur. And she walks in and goes, "Who bought this new statue?" I said, "No, that's your statue." So ever since then, I repaired all the statues at the apparition. So I must have repaired 20, 30 statues.
Did you ever repair statues before?
No.
So this was just part of the gift that you have been given.
Yeah, it's part of the. Yeah, she said you've been given the hands of Joseph because he was a carpenter. So that's what she told me. So then, that's when I started my writing there, because one of the volunteer meetings, she took me aside and said, "You have at your side Archangel Uriel and Archangel Gabriel, because they're with you now here. Archangel Uriel has the wisdom of God, and Archangel Gabriel is the messenger of God." And then later, two or three of us were chosen to help her anoint with the Holy Spirit. And then that's when I had Raphael on my side, because he has the healing force of God. And I had to be blessed by a priest to do that. So I was blessed by a priest to do that. And then from there I started writing. And then when she told me I had Uriel, the messenger and the writer of wisdom of God, that's when I started writing. So I started writing around 2008 or 9. My first book was published in 2011, and I've got 12 now.
And he continues to be the messenger.
Well, it continues because I read Xanthotera, and it's so graphic. It's hard for me to get through some of the human destruction in that. And I came to you the other day and I said it's exactly what the terrorists, the Hamas, had did to the children and some of the people in Israel. And it was like, here it is, and here I read it. Now, your book takes place on Mars, but it was the same horrific terrorism as you wrote it that came to be. It's just, you continue.
Well, that's not the only
this.
thing that just recently came to be. They just released a report that the State Department thinks there's around 100 and so terrorists that came through the border. They don't know where they are.
Yeah.
That are here as sleeper cells in the U.S. In 2011, I wrote a book called Trihedral of Chaos, which is about sleeper cells that came into the United States.
So how does that turn out for us, Sir Frank?
Well,
What's the Cliff Note version of that?
It's an interesting point, because I was reading about the wake-up call to the U.S. because they know more than they're letting on.
Oh, they know.
And they are preparing. There's so many different scenarios that I've read in the last. A lot of conspiracy, but a lot of it that makes sense. But I wanted to ask you a question that was asked of me. Now, when you mentioned that the statue was somewhere in a warehouse, I think is what you told me. I said the statue can't be in a warehouse.
Can't be in a warehouse.
It just cannot.
There was 2 churches that originally wanted it. The first church was upset that it was painted because they wanted it white. And then we told them we couldn't leave it white. It had to be.
It needs to be fixed.
It had to be fixed. And then the second church that said they wanted it, then the priest decided, I've got too many statues, I don't want it. So it sat there now. That was end of July, August, and it was there until, well, today, just sitting outside in the back of a warehouse. So I said, that's not a place. You know,
wow,
like Freddie
she
said,
was
that's not a place
just
for
sitting
statues. So
outside.
I called a friend of mine whose son owns a place. I said, listen, we can't leave that statue there. Do the churches want it? He goes, no, they don't want it. I said, well, I got a place for it. He goes, well, let me know and just come get it. So here we are.
Well, that's the thing they asked me this morning. It says, well, why would they give it to you? And I said to her, why not?
Why not?
Because I asked.
And on the 13th, and why not? I was talking to Grace this morning because Grace grew up in Catholic school, and she said one of the things that she loves about our studio is that we're accepting of all religions, and it really doesn't make a difference. Because it really doesn't.
Now, the Virgin Mary appeared in this statue.
That makes a difference.
That's a difference.
Makes a difference to me. Now, I grew up as an altar boy. So I was in the church a lot when I was younger. Probably the reason why I'm all screwed up in the head, between right and wrong. And I make fun of wrong, and I try to be the right guy, sometimes. But not being said, I always notice statues and stained glass and all of this stuff that makes you feel important in their presence. And this is one of the reasons when I asked Frank, can we get her here? I'm not making a religious statement, I'm making a me statement. This is something that I believe in. So no, it isn't the Church of Freddy, like somebody quoted me today. It's not the Church of Freddy, not the Church of Dawn. It's not what this is about.
Can you guys do me a favor and close the door? Not that door, the front door.
Oh.
Yeah.
This is about something a little bit
It's
deeper.
like
Someone came in to see the statue. Come on.
Yeah.
A little bit deeper and a little bit more
It's wide open. Thank you, Andrea.
more significant. Statues are always a symbol. We wear crucifixes, we wear stars, we wear whatever the sea with the star for the Muslims, whatever it is that you believe in, you wear symbolic gestures, and you're supposed to rub it. Did you know that? The priest taught me that. He says you're supposed to rub it to remember. So this is just another.
Josh, I started another one, but you can do that one. That's fine too.
It's just another thing to remember. And again, and we noticed also that Sally found her manuscript.
Last night.
They sent it to her last night. I don't know if she told you.
We were talking here, and Louise said they just cannot find it. I said, well, at least chapter 1 is there. So if you can find chapter 1, because Sally got chapter 1. If you can find chapter 1, whatever is there, you'll find the rest. So I guess they found it on his Google Drive.
On the Google Drive.
So she got everything sent over, and then.
So I told her to make 15 copies of it.
So she said, now we got to figure out how we're going to put it into a book, but at
Put it
least
on
the
the flash drive.
content is there.
So now she can go
gross.
back and do the
So
thing
she's
she
going to be
wanted to do.
contacting you as well.
Correct.
And we've got, so I have to ask Grace what your thoughts are, because you're kind of new to our studio and all of the magic that happens here. You kind of amazed?
Yeah, it's like it takes you back a little bit because like I've worked in other places and nothing is like as magical, I guess is a better word.
Well, that's a good word.
I guess
Yeah.
people keep religion out of most places of work, but
Yeah,
we're
And-
more, it's the spirituality of what we do.
yeah, and like even like on my first day, Sally like gave me a message, and I was so taken back by that, and I was like, what? And then I just realized like that's how it kind of works here, and it's really cool to be in a place like this.
So I remember that. She said, is there a Grace here? We're like, oh my gosh, what's Grace going to think? Because we don't know what everybody thinks when they first start here, right? You
Yeah.
never know. And she had this whole message for you about one of your parents, your dad or something, I think it was, or your grandmother, I don't remember.
Yeah, I thought she was trying to tell me my grandmother died, and I was like, I called both of them. Like, I went home and called them both. I was like, I need to talk to, like, both of you to make sure you're both alive. But she was telling me that, like, you're in the right spot. Like, you're in the right place and time. And she was like, just calm down. Like, you got this figured out. Because, like, it was my first day, and, like, obviously you walk into this, you're, like, super overwhelmed and, like, what am I doing?
We're super overwhelming. We could be super overwhelming, I guess, too.
Remy, look at Remy. She's overwhelming. Overwhelming Remy.
Ramin?
Yeah.
Were you super overwhelmed when you started here?
I was very much overwhelmed.
Why?
I mean, the first day I came here for like the interview thing, you guys were in the middle of the show and you're like, come in, sit down. And I was like, what? What am I supposed to do?
Come in and sit down. Come in and sit down. We try to be as welcoming. Look, we got 7-car pileup. He came back.
Yesterday, you asked me like, oh, don't you have a truck? I'm like,
I
I used to.
I forgot about that.
It wasn't yesterday.
It's on the side of I-95 somewhere.
But there's no way to even explain what happens here, when it happens here, and the fact that today's the 13th and in comes this Virgin Mary statue. So I have to ask you, so she came through this statue at the Apparition Center?
Yeah. It was after one of the apparitions. We were all sitting around decompressing, I guess. She had like a back patio. And from the patio, you could look out to the backyard where the statue was, and the statue was facing the street. So we saw the back of the statue. And she looks at the statue, she goes, statue turned around. So we looked at the statue, and the statue was facing us.
Well, if we come in here on Monday and she's facing another way,
She's facing the wall.
So what?
then we'll have a repeat performance of what it is.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that
But
happen.
it's the significance. It's more than a statue. It's the significance of what the statue represents.
You know,
It's what's so
I'm
special.
glad the statue's here because we have doors that open and close in this place. I don't know if you're aware of
Yeah, I know.
You know.
So again, it opens and it closes and it opens and G-Man gets
Now
off.
you're going to have more doors open and closed.
Well,
You
now
saw what
I'm
just
expecting
happened.
them to go like this.
But just, it keeps everybody safe.
That's the name of the game. It
But
gives
it's nice
you-
that she has a home, especially in light of what we're all dealing with right now. It's nice to have a sacred vessel with us.
And thank you, and thank the people that allowed
Yes.
us to have her because I was told, why you? I said, why not?
But the thing with you is you always have ideas, and sometimes I wonder, how do you come up with this idea? And then how do you have them come to fruition? And yet you brought 2 people to move a 550-pound statue. What did I say to you this morning? If it's meant to be,
It'll happen.
she will make it happen.
Well, I got to tell you,
And she
Garcia and G-Man, they attacked this thing like Grant took Richmond. And they wiggled it to the point of the truck, and Garcia tells G-Man, watch out. And he bends over and he lifts it. And then G-Man went underneath it with one arm, but it was Garcia that back hugged this thing and put it on the truck. And I looked at him, I said, are you okay? The thing weighs a lot. Me and Frank had a hard time just
Getting it on a hand, lifting it a quarter of an inch on a hand truck.
I'm glad
this
you guys
much.
didn't do it.
Meanwhile, they carried him, put it
That's
on
the
there.
beauty of youth.
I almost
Should've taken
called
this
you.
one, big like bull over here.
Yeah, like it's crazy. I have been losing weight recently. I've been really trying with this, and I found myself actually getting weaker. It's crazy.
That's what happens. You
Because-
lose muscle mass.
Yeah, seriously, because like my arms, like when I was heavier set, I'm seeing like my arms were like huge. My
Huge?
biceps were huge.
Huge.
And now that I'm thinning out and really trying at this, they're thinner. And I was like,
That's muscle mass.
yeah,
You gotta eat more
it's
protein.
crazy. No, it's like I'm still just as strong. It's just it looks like I'm weaker.
Or you're leaner.
So we were
I'm here.
asking last night, first dates are really expensive
Why?
because you cook.
Yeah.
So do you cook for first dates?
Here's the thing.
Because Freddie was saying how he
I
wouldn't even
would
spend
never-
$20 anymore on a first date.
I would always take somebody out for a first date.
Yeah,
Because
but his
I
guy
think-
spends money like it's
I
going
know,
out
I know,
of
that's
I
true.
do not.
faucet.
I do not.
Oh, yes, you do. I heard all about it.
What do
You fly them to
who?
France.
Fly to France.
He brings in a box of crackers and everyone thinks that like, oh, those crackers are the best crackers they ever had.
See, like I'm a foodie.
Those
I do
those
not.
crackers,
I
right?
do not spend. I do not spend excess money on a lot of things.
So do you take them out for a first date or do you cook?
I would take them out because your first date is something very special, and I do not think like.
So
it
you don't
depends-
care if you spend $200-300 on your first date?
I would spend $200 to $300.
You would?
No, I would not.
You have.
I have not.
That's not the what I heard.
From who?
She wasn't a first date. She was.
She was the first, second, third. After you spend $200
Like, here's the
on
thing.
a chick, she's gonna say, "Take me out again,
Like-
please."
Like, I do cook, and cooking is something I'm very passionate about. But sometimes there is something about just going out and just relaxing into time, like, and it depends on the person.
But it's
Some
the first
people-
date. You don't know any of this.
Some
yet.
people are not comfortable going to your house for the first date.
Well, let me
Yeah.
ask the ladies: do you expect to be taken out
Well,
to?
she's like, she wouldn't go to a guy's house for the first date.
No, not a guy's
that's what I
house.
said,
Wait,
take
wait,
them out
wait.
to a restaurant.
No,
Yeah.
do you expect the guy to
Like a
take you
movie.
to a nice restaurant and a movie on your first date?
I mean, yeah. The first date, you gotta leave a good impression.
Gotta break some eggs, right? Gotta
I
make.
mean, if
make-
somebody asked me for a first date and takes me to their house to cook, I'd be like, no way, because with that comes like certain expectations, and I'm like,
no, that's
True.
too. And that's cheap. Oh, wait,
Yeah.
McDonald's on the plate. No, you want.
But it's not that. It's the connotation of, what was it? Netflix and hang or something?
Netflix and chill.
Netflix and chill, yeah.
Yeah, and you don't want to like
Look, she's-
encourage
she's
that for
laughing.
first
Wait a
date.
minute. Let's ask.
I like to live and die by a motto that, you gotta be a gentleman. Like,
be
even
what?
A gentleman.
even if I'm not dating somebody, like, for example, I'm just gonna use this example. Me and Beta hang out all the time.
What a good example.
What an example.
Whenever, hey.
What an example.
Whenever me and Bailey do anything together, she never pays for Jack.
We know.
Ever.
Ever.
Jack, Jill, and Paul. It says.
It's a mantra.
Okay,
Even
take
though
it easy.
we're-
Take it easy,
What?
AJ. Let's ask Salsa.
What was the question?
So when you're gonna go on your first date, you expect to be taken to dinner, something nice?
Yes.
Mm.
I wouldn't go to somebody's house.
No.
Exactly.
What is it with the house thing? I didn't say
a
I don't
house.
feel like
It's
I
a
have the
boundary.
trust to
I didn't
go
say
to
house.
their house.
I said restaurante,
You know,
restaurant.
my first day with Chuck, I went to his apartment.
I don't want to talk to
Is
you.
that crazy? Like, I would never.
I'm
we
gonna
never
put
went
you.
out,
I'm gonna
but,
put you over there. We're gonna have a chair for timeout.
Like, it's so different now than it was.
It ain't
then.
different now. It ain't different now. I we're over there. So you're funny. So you would go on a nice date, right? So if a guy spent $20 on you on the first date, like a McDonald's, would that upset you?
It wouldn't upset me.
Well, what would you think of the guy?
It depends. If the agreement is to
No agreement. He
It
says, "I'm gonna
depends if
take
she
you.
really likes McDonald's.
I'm gonna take you to dinner." The guy says, and he takes you to McDonald's. Would you go in? Would you go
I
in?
will go, but I wouldn't go to a second date.
Oh, that would be the end of it. She, that's it.
Depends. Because if I really like his personality, then probably yes.
So if you like him, you maybe do McDonald's again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but you know what? McDonald's today is not a cheap date.
No,
I know. It costs you about $40.
I told you, 40, 50 bucks to go to McDonald's today.
Here's the thing.
What does
What
Antonio
could
do
be
on the
done?
first date? Antonio, what do you do on the first date?
Yeah, dinner's a good idea. Or
For you or for her?
or something that's like you guys can do like that's physical, like golfing or like
That's physical. All right.
Like
This guy's my champion, I tell you.
or like
But wait a minute, wait a minute.
axe
Are you
throwing
going
bar,
on
it's
an
good.
outdoor
Oh my
It's-
God, that's brilliant.
That's a good idea, yeah.
Ball. It's not like a place called like Axe-tastic nearby.
Yeah.
You would take a girl on your first date to axe throwing?
Absolutely, it's a good
Wow,
That would be
idea.
a fun first date.
That's dangerous.
Such a good.
What's
that-
in the golf on the roof?
Like Drive Shack or like something
There's
like
what
that.
it's like. I forget what it's called. Pro
Dry
golf or
shack, what is
something.
that?
They've got like golf now on rooftops of these big buildings.
You never seen like the big nets?
What,
Freddy?
driving? Golf
like-
drive?
Yeah.
Yeah, like a driver. Like,
You guys like
Top
that?
golf? Is that Top Golf?
Top
yeah,
golf.
Top
Yeah.
Golf. Yeah.
You like that?
Yeah,
Really?
That's fun.
Girls like that as dates because it's fun. It's an activity to do. It's
Really?
outdoors.
Did you hear about the
They've got
one
good
that
beer.
Tiger Woods came out with? It's a chain that Tiger Woods did. It's miniature golf, but it's the same thing as Top Golf. They have an open bar and dinner and.
See, I like
food.
that.
That's cool.
But driving, do you guys play golf? The ladies play golf?
It's not that. It's more of the outdoor. Like there's a bar, there's a restaurant. It's kind of like an activity.
Would you go bowling on the first date?
That's a good. Another
You
good
wouldn't?
one.
But if I didn't win, I wouldn't go on a
Here's the
date.
thing.
Not on a
What you
first
could
date.
do, if I really wanted to cook for somebody, what I would do for the first date is I would cook it and maybe do like a picnic. If we were really looking to not spend money at a restaurant, I would cook dinner and take the dinner somewhere.
But that's not the question. You will cook even for turtles. We get
the
that.
turtle.
What's for dinner tonight?
Filet
steak.
mignon.
Steak.
Yeah.
You told me yesterday.
I
But you know,
What?
you told me that yesterday. You were cooking steak today.
didn't.
Look how
Um,
cool that is. Oh wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's really nice. Me and my
That's
sister.
that's like an open though. There's a lot of people there, no?
Yeah, we
First date?
There's three or four stories.
Me and my sister, when I was in Baltimore, we did Top Golf. It's the funnest thing in the world.
I think it's
I gotta
fun,
tell you,
like-
I wouldn't take any girl first date bowling.
Why?
Because I have a bad experience.
I think
I took
acts
I took the
ruin-
first girl, this girl one time to go bowling, and we were having a real good time, right? And bowling has 2 sides, 2 lanes, so they only rent you 1 lane, unless you know somebody you can get 2. So they rented the other one, and she started flirting with one of the guys
On the other side.
on the other side.
Yeah. Maybe she was just being nice.
Yeah, well, you would know all about that. So she started flirting, right? So I'm like, I said to her, if this doesn't work out for you, we can leave. No, I'm having a great. Meanwhile, she's sitting with the other guy having drinks.
Oh,
and
that's a
everything.
problem.
So I said to her, "Look, I'm going to the bathroom. I'll be right back." Went
She's-
right out the door.
Really?
She's
Yeah.
she is checking out her options, maybe.
Right out the door and left.
What's your best first date?
I've only been on one first date, and I've only been on one first date, and I didn't speak to him after.
Oh, where'd you go? Was it bad?
It wasn't bad. It was like we just didn't mesh.
Where'd you go?
Rocco's.
Rocco's Tacos?
Yeah.
Did he pay?
Yeah, he did.
Because you told him to.
No, I was just like, do you want me to pay? And he thought about it for a little too long, and I was like,
Why would a guy?
wait.
Why would you have to ask a guy to pay, or why would that even be a conversation?
Well, it's just being like polite. Like the the waitress handed him the check, and then I like reached for my wallet, and I was like, "Oh, do you want to split it?" And he was like, and like looked me up and down. It's like, "I got it," and I was like, "Yeah,
Done.
we're done with this."
Like,
How about you, Kennedy?
Where'd you go on your first date, Einstein? You never been on a date?
What's the best first date?
You never. Wait a minute. But how do you mean you never been on a date? You've been on something.
I've never been on a date either.
Oh, stop.
You go Bailey all the time.
No, that's not.
I don't want to hear it.
That's not
Definition.
dates.
Yes, it
What's
is
your
a date.
definition of a date?
When you're girlfriend and boyfriend, you go on.
No,
a
no,
date.
no,
But
no.
at some point you're there before the girlfriend, boyfriend.
You meet somebody
Meet
for the
somebody
first
and
time.
go
You're
out.
not boyfriend and girlfriend.
We're just hanging out. Like for me, a date is
Everybody hangs out.
when they say, "Okay, I like you, you like me. Let's go out on a date."
No,
That's a date for me.
that's called Mission Impossible. Because nobody's gonna say I like you. They're gonna say you want to go on a date and see how it works out. True?
True.
You're gonna find out that you found out it wasn't gonna work. That wasn't boyfriend girlfriend, but it was a date.
Like for me, a date is when you're just exploring if you have feelings for one another. That is a date for me.
But that's like jumping from A to Z.
No, it's like a date for me is like in my opinion, there's a difference between hanging out with a friend who's of the opposite sex and there's a date.
It was different back in the day. Frank, where'd you go with Chris for your first date? Do you remember?
12 Arch is a restaurant.
Did you ask her or she asked you?
No, I asked her. And I paid. Then I sent her flowers.
See?
Instead of flowers.
You know,
Take notes.
Michelle, my ex-wife, she asked me on a date.
Did she?
And then 6 months, because I wasn't into Michelle. She was, she was a friend of mine and a worker. And she asked if she could kiss me.
She asked. Wow.
I said, really? I
It's
said, why
Latino
would you
women,
want to
huh?
do that? What?
Latinas, they ask you out and they ask you to kiss.
She asked me on a date, and then she asked me 6 months later.
You had Freddie? No.
First she asked me if I
How
was.
soon after that did you?
She asked me if I was gay. That's the first thing. Because I didn't make a move on her in 6 months.
Why?
Because I wasn't into her.
But you married her and had 2 children.
But that's what happens.
And then 4 grandchildren. You weren't into her? Imagine if you were.
We would have had 12, 26, 48.
Oh Lord.
It
And
happened.
you were married for 17 years?
Well, you got to bring all that up. Yeah.
But you weren't into her?
I really wasn't.
You leave me speechless on Friday.
Why? Have you ever dated somebody or you're with somebody, you're really good friends, but just not at that level?
But then you married her.
Well,
I feel like,
Like-
that's kind of the whole commitment. Like I like you. Like that's kind of.
And then you
implied
had
that
children
like
with
at
her.
that point.
Not 1 and 2.
took 5 years.
Yeah.
And then it took another 5 years. I had 2 kids in 10 years.
The way I look at it,
Thank God.
I would rather wait I'd rather date one person in my entire life and have it be over than date multiple people.
You can't do that.
Like, I don't know. It's just
That's
like,
a recipe for
I'm
destruction.
waiting for the right person.
You're too emotional, number one, to do that.
I know I am.
Because you're gonna get caught up in one person, and she's gonna break your heart a few times, and you're gonna go back for more. You know, there's an old saying: a box of Band-Aids only has so many Band-Aids. So you went to Chuck's house, huh? How was that for you?
And then we went out for ice cream. He was.
Wait a minute.
He
And
wouldn't
then,
even-
what do you mean? And then, what happened?
We
And
left
went-
because he lived. I lived in West Kendall, and he lived in East Miami. So
Oh, so you went on so you met at his house to go buy ice cream?
yes,
That's about a 400-mile ice cream cone.
he paid for the ice cream
Did he?
cone. The ice cream cone. It was when Bayside was a thing. Before Bayside got all kind of commercialism.
Did he pay for the gas?
Actually, no, right? I know. Isn't that crazy?
He lived in Miami. You live where?
I lived down in Dadeland, and he lived on Brickell. So, it was like
So
a
you
half
drove
hour.
down there?
I know.
You
What was
outta
I,
here.
stupid?
You're out of your mind.
I know. Like, I think about these things. Like things I would tell my daughter never to do
How did you meet Chuck?
on a blind date.
Really?
You met him on a blind date
romantic.
and decided to drive to Brickell?
Yeah, I
There
know.
you have it.
Romantic.
And you've been married 4 years?
89. Yeah. Coming on 34 years.
Well, you got the secret recipe.
Go
That's so
out for
funny.
ice cream. I don't know. All right, you ready to wrap this up? We got a midday show in an hour.
Yeah.
More to come. All right, we got a great show lined up for you today. I hope, Frank, you stay because there's a couple of people I want you to meet.
Yes.
Sure, they don't mind putting that as flop.
That's all
Not
right.
at all. We've got Dawn DeMarco, she's coming in, and we've got actually the two ladies coming in are the two ladies that brought you books.
Cool.
So
Great to
they'll be
meet them.
joining us. She wrote a book about human trafficking, and then we've got a business executive coach. A lot of people coming in. All right, have a great morning, everyone. Stay safe. Happy Friday the 13th. We'll see you in a little bit.
Don't be late. Thank you for listening to the Brooklyn Cafe Morning Show. My mug is empty, and you know what that means.
I think it means it's time for a coffee refill.
As we prepare for other shows here at the Amp Media Production Studios.
Tune in for more fun and laughs at 12 o'clock for our afternoon show.
And remember to like, follow, and subscribe on our page.
Have a great morning, everyone. Stay safe and be kind to each other.
And don't be late.